right, welcome everyone to the 12th episode of the Slava Heroyam podcast. It is the year of our Lord, 23 October 2025 at 7 p.m. We do this show weekly on Thursdays at 7 p.m. And this time I'm joined by Charlie Morris. Charlie was spent a year as the social media director for a Ukrainian humanitarian aid organization called Paracrew. And we're very happy to have him here when we talk about our organization of the week, especially. How are you doing today, Charlie?
I'm very good, Travis. I'm excited to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. And tell us real quick a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and do a little bit of an introduction. And then I'm going to introduce people that may be new to the show to our format.
Cool. Just raise your hand if I'm rambling too long with this intro. So I'm currently based in Iowa City, Iowa. When I was volunteering with Paracrew, I was traveling up and down the East Coast while working on nonprofit conservation documentary film projects and podcasts. So, yeah, I guess that wasn't too long of an intro.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So is it getting colder up where you are? Because in Texas, it's starting to finally feel like fall.
It was like 88 last week, and then last night it was 34. So we've had our first frost. So,
all right. Well, that's good. And it might be getting a lot colder in Ukraine. I don't know if it'll be in there, but that is something of concern. But welcome everyone who hasn't been to the show before. We do this in 4-part modules where we talk about our organization of the week, because I want to promote organizations that help humanitarian aid to Ukraine, especially to the people that are, experiencing the constant barrage of terror attacks from Russia. So there are maybe hundreds of organizations to help with, but all of them are unique in some way. We're going to start out with that today. Then we will talk a little bit. We always want to do a little bit of anti-propaganda. One of the reasons I started this show was an inspiration by the Ghost of Kiev story, which was a very positive legend. And then, but people sort of as soon as I sort of saw people celebrating the fact that it wasn't quite real, I got into all the other family members and that kind of thing got touched by Russian propaganda. That was my main inspiration for this, is to kind of combat that as much as I can, as an author and as a person with a voice building a platform. But the third thing that we sometimes have to do, and you hope you don't have to do it, is remember some of the fallen from Ukraine. And we will remember some civilians killed in the human safari campaign. If you don't know what human safari is, that's where Russians hunt civilians with drones and then essentially post it on social media and brag about it. And finally, the namesake of this podcast is to celebrate the individual heroes and legends of people doing legendary things to make sure Ukraine stays free. And today we'll be talking about the special unit, a police unit. We're not really talking about soldiers and airmen, but we'll be talking about the police unit, the White Angels. All right, so welcome everyone. Let's start out with our organization of the week. Was the organization you were a part of for a year and is still in contact with. That's paracrewhumanitarianaid.org. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the website here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it here, at least on my side.
I need to share this tab instead, and then I have to add it to the stage. All right, there we go. So now it looks much better.
Awesome. I built that website.
All right. Well, so this is mainly an organization. You deliver supplies, food, and water to frontline areas that are hard to reach.
Oh, wait, was that a question?
Yeah, question mark at the end.
Oh, yeah, no, not just food and water, though those pictures might make it. I mean, it's everything. It's food, it's water, it's diapers, it's generators, chainsaws. I mean, they just deliver everything. And the crazy thing is, to me, is how many people run it, which is not many. I mean, it is a small but mighty crew. In that photo there, the woman with the orange vest, I believe, is Emily, which is the daughter of the person that runs it, whose name is Linda. Linda's actually based in Norway.
Okay.
So she drives all the way from Norway, and then they kind of like set up things somewhere in Poland, gather all the supplies there, and then drive them. So Medyka, Poland, for example, is one of the places they might drive from. Then they might deliver all the way to Kramatorsk. That's on the other side of Ukraine. I mean, it's
Wow.
days. It's like I think it's like 2 days, 2 to 3 full days of driving. They're driving huge distances, and of course, not in safe situations all the time. Though they always
Yeah,
try to pick safe routes for their drivers. But yeah, they do a lot. Yeah.
that's a quick aside that I hope my viewers realize, and maybe I can do something to um, give the sense of the size of Ukraine to people. But a lot of my viewers or listeners might be in Texas. So if you're familiar with Texas, you're familiar with the distance of Ukraine. You drive across Texas, you drive across Ukraine, they're about the same size, roughly. But that's still huge. It can take you, 20 hours to get across.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
40 all the way, right? Like,
and so when you're and a lot of people look at Texas and 20 hours of driving and they still don't understand that you can fit 4 or 5 European countries in there. So
mhm.
the territory that's being demanded for in the name of peace is 4 times the size of Belgium. It is 2 times the size of Portugal. It's make a small country out of it. But tell me a little bit about how so ladies are the founders of this
Yeah,
organization.
yeah. Linda is the founder, and like I said, that's her daughter there, and I believe Emily in the orange. Though I'm sure her daughter was instrumental in helping form it too. But yeah, Linda. Actually, you know what? I seem to remember a conversation that maybe she founded it with a maybe one other person, but all I know for a fact is that Linda is the sole director now, and probably has mostly been the sole director. And um, but Linda, I would be remiss if I didn't. Linda would say, Charlie, why didn't you mention these other groups? They do team up a
Mhm.
lot with. They do like a Friends of the Superheroes sort of thing. She does.
Right, so super
Yes,
friends.
she teams up with a group called Action Beyond Words quite often, and then another group called Nada Dash Nord. I don't know what that acronym stands for, but I believe it's a Norwegian group. And Action Beyond Words. Yeah, so you'll see in a lot of their material, if you go to their Facebook page, they'll be like, this donation was made possible through Action Beyond Words, not a Nord. And basically, Linda just has so many connections inside of Ukraine and so many people. They just out, like, for example, a group in Kramatorsk might reach out or in Antonivka and say, hey, we really need this, and then you drop it to this location when you can get the supplies together. And then Action Beyond Words and not a Nord, they have supplies. Linda has other people that throw in, and they just load a van and they drive it on out. And she said the main need when I was working with them is they needed me to create social media to drive donations for gasoline money because their biggest need was petrol. They had
Mhm.
constant, really strong, steady flow of supplies, but the money was the big issue, and drivers, of course, was the big issue. So,
Right. What's that?
but
Uh,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no problem. The a lot of them need
Oh, there's
gas.
yeah,
Some
there's one of my videos. So you can see some of my videos there. I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel that this video here is a part of. And so basically yeah, that's a cool video. That is when they went to deliver aid into Kherson right after the flooding happened.
oh, wow.
Basically, they got a message saying, "Hey, the dam has been breached. We need help." And so they had to take all these back roads just to try to get there. And they were driving through all these mud-covered fields that of course were heavily mined. And so they couldn't
Hmm.
take certain pathways, and because they hadn't been cleared of mines yet. So basically, what they would do is their driver, like in this instant, Anna, one of their volunteers, sent me. She went on the trip, and she sent me most of these videos. And some of them she's narrating, and others she would just send me the video content, and then my job would be to package it together, put it in some sort of like super basic sort of thing, and say, "Hey guys, let's provide donations." And there you can see Action Beyond Words and Not as logos.
Right. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And have you guys heard of Blue Check? That's another
Not.
organization. Blue Check is an organization that well, first of all, they collect donations themselves and I'll try to get humanitarian aid to the front, but they're a coordinator organization.
Hmm.
They are run by a couple different people. One of them is the Hollywood actor, fellow who played Sabretooth
Oh.
in Sabretooth in the Wolverine Origins movie.
Oh.
Let's just go ahead and go to Blue Check real quick.
What is his name? I feel like I should know that. Oh, Levi Shrever?
Yes, Levi Shrever.
Him? Okay.
So the Blue Check, you'll see all these organizations scrolling down here.
Nice.
But they different organizations too. So I wonder if those couple organizations,
Yeah.
if it would be beneficial to reach out to Blue Check. But that's what they're doing, is they are consolidating all these different organizations to sort of help get them all coordinated together and where to go. But I found it very interesting. You guys went into Kherson after that flood.
Hmm.
Were drones as big a danger then as they are now?
There were no drones yet at that point. Of course, there was
Mhm.
some shelling from across the river, but they were not. The drones did not happen yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so
Yeah.
now, of course, it's more dangerous than ever for organizations to try to get to Kherson and a lot of these places along the front line. But before we get into that, I want to go back to 2022 a little bit. This organization started right after the full-scale invasion paracrew, or the folks were together then? Or?
Yeah, so I'm really glad you asked. I think it is a fascinating story that's sort of lost to
Mhm.
history. Is when the evacuation phase began after the war, one of the major border crossings was at Medyka, Poland, for Ukrainians to cross.
Mhm.
There was an official entry that I don't know if it was just a nickname or an official name, but it was called the Gates of Humanity. And
Mhm.
people would stream across the border. And what arose just on the other side in Poland was a place called the Tent City. And there were organizations from all over the world that had, they would bring in these tents, and they all had their structures set up. I mean, there was a medical tent, there was, food, supplies, everything. And they would pass through the tent city, get whatever they needed. And then there would be buses waiting, like kind of like up a big hill, and then the buses would take them to different places, right? And so Linda was there in the beginning, and sort of a paraphrasing of what I remember her saying is at the end of that, they still had a lot of supplies. And so once the evacuation phase waned, then they realized, wait a minute, there's still a lot of people in Ukraine who need help, and a lot of them that aren't getting help. And we've got all these supplies. What if we start driving it into Ukraine instead of waiting for Ukrainians to come out? And so that's what they started doing. And that's a lot of groups got their start because they were coalescing around Medyka. And then they were like, okay, let's reverse the flow. Let's go into Ukraine and take the aid in. And that's how I got to sort of, come to learn about a lot of different groups. Was Linda would be, Linda's vans through Paracrew would be delivering aid. I would see a photo. It's really customary for people when they deliver aid to like hold up a flag with their logo on it, or to pose with the group that they're meeting with. And then I would see these photos and tag them, and I'd be like, oh, who is that group? And so that's how I discovered that there was this whole network of really small but really effective aid groups working inside of Ukraine.
Wow.
Yeah, and usually run not by Ukrainians, because they're like fighting for their lives. They don't have supplies, right? In those early days, especially. So it was
Yeah.
people from other countries gathering the aid and then driving it in.
I remember seeing pictures and video of people that basically drove all the way to the border, and then it was so crowded they just got out of their cars and walked across the border from there. And so I know a lot of them were trying to get to train stations, trying to get to Warsaw.
Mm-hmm.
But Medyka being a crossing point. Now, is that sort of on the northern or southern border
It is the far western. Yeah, it's
well,
the western.
far southwestern? Like how far from? Is
I
that
mean,
where the people from Lviv would have crossed?
hold on a second.
Or
Let
I
me
need
look.
to
But I don't.
show
But
people some.
I can tell you the city that it's closest to. Um, let's see. The city that is the closest big city. Yeah, you're right. Lviv. It is due west of Lviv.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to probably be more effective, but some people do listen on like Spotify, things like that, so they wouldn't be able to see. So due west of
It is 84 kilometers due west of Lviv.
okay, and show this tab. Easier than getting Google Maps out, but there it is right there.
Yeah.
Livier's over here.
Yeah.
So that's where we're talking about,
That's where the gates of.
and we're
And I believe it was the busiest border crossing, at least along the Polish border. I forget how many people would come through a day, but I mean, I believe at the height it was tens of thousands of people a day. Yeah.
was that realization that not everyone was going to leave, and that people needed help still,
Yeah.
and especially in those border areas. And Kherson is now like a permanent border area because of the river.
Mm-hmm.
It prevents both sides from moving. Same with Zaporizhia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I forgot to go get something. Let me grab something real quick. This is not good podcast etiquette, but we will edit
I'll
this
hold
out.
down the fort. You're going to entertain the audience.
Because yeah.
All right, everybody, he's not here. Now we can talk about Travis.
Apologies, everyone. I need to get myself some proper Hrilka, but for now we'll just use some Stoli vodka because there's some toasts I want to make. And both countries, Ukrainians drink vodka as well, but they prefer their Hrilka. But we will toast with that because we were talking a little bit about folks that can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the theme today, is that they need help, but sometimes they also need rescuing. That's where the white angels come in. But there's some folks that won't leave because they're tough as nails, and they're farmers. They've lived there their whole life. And this lady, Grandma Laura, Baba Laura, she couldn't leave, or wasn't going to leave, and wasn't scared not to leave, but goat herder all her life in the Kherson area.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't see this very well, but we can hear her.
Oh, hey, Travis, just so you know, I can't. My screen hasn't changed. I didn't know.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. I still have the map of Medica.
Yeah, this has to. Thank you.
Yeah,
there we go.
Oh, awesome.
There we go. And I don't know how to make this any bigger. I've tried to in the past, but okay. So that's Grandma Laura, and I just want to show people her fearlessness. And there was another fearless farmer, Alexander, and I can't remember his name right now, but I also want to do a whole segment on him because he had shot down over 200 drones with his shotgun. But these are farmers, people that stayed in the Kherson area, and they went after her again this week, and this time they got her and some of her goats, and that's just it made me so angry. But I want to remember her, and I want to remember. I'm going to switch to. We'll talk a little bit about something that you know a little bit more about than me. Maybe is that we also lost 2 reporters, also from the Human Safari drone strike. I'm switching to them, and here they are. So these are folks that are fighting the propaganda of Putin, trying to show what's really happening to people. And some of the favorite targets of the Russians in their terror campaigns are farmers, livestock owners, and reporters, because they know that truth can defeat them, and they know that the people that are keeping the people fed and supplied, that's also a threat to what they're trying to do. But this is Olena Hubanova and Yevhen Karmazian. Ukrainian might be better than mine.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No.
But the town of Kramatorsk was one that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Trying to get supplies to.
Wow. Yeah. And that's in the further eastern side of Ukraine.
Right.
Wow.
And what strikes me as odd about some of these terror attacks in the Donetsk region and the Luhansk region, is that those are the people that you would think Russia would want to convince that, hey, we're on your side here.
Yeah, yeah.
But instead, they know that Ukraine is pretty much unified against them at this point, and so they're just attacking whoever. Anyway, a toast to those heroes who have left us this week, and we'll talk about what some people that are protecting people from this sort of thing. So, before I get to the White Angels, I've talked a lot about a lot of humanitarian aid organizations on this channel, but something I don't address that often is, I always say that I'm vouching for these organizations, and I've met people like you that have worked with them. But one of the propaganda campaigns that Russia runs is, oh, you can't give to Ukraine because anything you give them, whether you're the government or a civilian giving charity, there's corrupt people that are just going to take that money and it's not going to go to the war effort you want it to.
Yep.
So how much can you myth bust that?
So I can. So it's interesting. The way I found my way to Paracrew was I was visiting a friend in North Carolina on my travels. He let me stay at his place while I was working on this movie. And he says, hey, Charlie, I know you and I've talked about trying to go to Ukraine a lot to do aid work. And he goes, I have a phone call later today with a woman who runs this organization called Paracrew. And so I said, how'd you find out about her? Well, my friend's wife works for USAID, and she was based in, I believe she was based in Lviv. And so she actually, on his behalf, found an organization that she knew would be reputable. But like he asked her, an in-country person, who should I trust? So
Mhm.
that's like step one. But here's an interesting thing. I put together sort of a short little. It wasn't a movie. It was like a short little, I would say, serialized docu series thing that I put together, like a 40-minute presentation where I highlighted like 5 different aid groups that I knew were legit. I showed this movie to a Ukrainian sort of group. Most of them are Ukrainians here in the States. So these were people that had left the country and they were sort of new here, or they were a lot of people that had lived here for a while. We're in the
Mhm.
Quad Cities of Iowa. And what was really interesting to me is a lot of the people, even Ukrainians in the room, said, we went to give to organizations. How do we know they're legitimate? And that really surprised me that even they were confused.
Mhm.
And so I tried to teach them. I put together a list of agencies that I like, and I was like, and here's how you spot a fake agency. It takes effort. You have to look you have to look at their Facebook page and you have to see, do they post more than like 3 times a day? Because the fake ones that are run by Russian troll farms, they'll post 20 times a day. They use almost all AI generated content,
Mm.
and they show Ukrainian soldiers really healthy and happy and clean, sitting at a long table holding up huge bowls of food, smiling at the
Mhm.
camera, like they're eating huge, vast, pots of beef stew, and they're smiling at the camera. And I'm like, okay, guys, that's fake. Like that is not life on the zero line.
Right.
And but so what they do is the Russian people, the Russian trolls will create fake Facebook accounts that make it look like we support Ukrainians, help us feed these soldiers, but all the money's just going to some Russian person, or some other agency that's trying to not a legitimate agency. So, but to the casual observer, it is easy to think these are real images.
Now, curiously, I think you've posted about AI recently, and I'm learning a
Yeah.
lot of. I'm learning a lot of. I'm a pretty progressive guy that likes a new toy, but you're learning all kinds of sinister things about it, and you
Yeah.
wonder if they're using those AI companies. I mean, of course, the AI companies are going to say that we didn't sanction this, but are they? Do you get it? Are the Russians use? I mean, would you be able to identify? I don't know if you're into the weeds enough on this, but maybe there's somebody, a guy that I can talk to. Maybe I can go on LinkedIn and talk to some of my AI guys or some of my AI guys at Raytheon about this. If you don't know, but I'm genuinely curious, and this is maybe a rhetorical question. I'm curious if the Russians that are using those AI images to try to promote their scam websites,
Hmm.
their scam humanitarian aid sites. I'm wondering if the AI that they generate, if it comes from, like ChatGPT, OpenAI, these companies here in the U.S., or if they're using the Chinese ones, or if Russia has their own.
Oh
This is
gosh, yeah, I don't know.
so yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I know that like for the more sophisticated video stuff that you actually have to pay to use those higher end content producing AI modules. I mean, I think it's free to create most photos, simple things.
uh,
When it comes to like videos,
it's a little bit of a tangent, but most the newest one, Sora, they let you make free videos from it, but each one of those free videos cost $5. Even if so, every person that makes a free video with that costs the AI company $5.
yeah.
So that's just an example of how much money that they're
Ooh,
willing to throw away
uh,
to make this work, and it's something like $800 billion they need to make back on their investment. And that's why everyone's worried about an AI bubble. That's a big tangent, but it is it's somewhat related to the war because of the defense industry. A lot of the drone technologies, um, they're being developed. The drone technologies, the anti-drone technologies, the even how much down to the wire of how we're going to run, how China wants to run their invasion of Taiwan, the
hmm
simulations of that, the boats, everything has some sort of AI involved in it. So the defense industry, even if the defense industry has to worry about it, even though the prudent thing to do would be to
yeah.
pump the brakes on
Yeah.
everything. um
Do we have time for me to let me know if we don't. But do we have time for me to mention? I have three other groups that if we have time, I could mention them.
Let's
But
mention
too
them. Let's
much.
mention them. I moved past the subject, but we're only 30 minutes in, and yeah, we need to mention any group that we can. So
So
please do.
I really like Project Constantin. I believe I sent you their link. I'll just briefly say that
These guys.
it is really worth going to their Instagram or their old Facebook posts and seeing what they're up to. But especially, there is a guy, so they have a memorial page on their website for two of their main people that used to work there who have both been killed at this point. But going
Aw.
back and watching the Peter Foosh videos is, I mean, I cried when I heard he died. I was following him daily. I was also writing him messages because I was trying to find a way to come over and volunteer with his group. They primarily were combat medevac unit. That's primarily what they did. I mean, they were evacuating people in anything they could find to drive. If it had four wheels, Peter was driving it. I mean, he did. It's just amazing, and he was so fiery and passionate. But he was killed in action. And then Tatiana, another person, founder, she was also killed. And now it's run by this really awesome person named Halina Zhuk and Jana Furi. And Halina is Ukrainian, lives in Ukraine, and they're still doing really amazing work. So that is another super legit group that I really like a lot. And I just think their story is really an impressive story. And actually, I don't want to. I think I am going to stop there just because I said a lot there, but I just really think that their story is really worth reading about.
No, then we need to, and they are spiritual blood brothers and sisters with the White Angels. Now the White Angels were started by, and this is our hero of the week and our heroic unit of the week. We're started by Rustam Lukamsky here.
Okay.
And what we can notice about him is that he is a fellow. I can't get my hat off because okay. Yeah, we are fellow bald hero.
I say he looks like you.
Yeah, bald heroes unite.
And me.
Yeah, bald heroes unite.
Yeah.
So glory to the bald heroes. Slava, whatever bald means.
Slava,
yeah. So, but there he is. He started out with much like the organization you were telling me about, but he's a police officer.
Oh wow.
He's a police officer in Donetsk, the wonderful city of Donetsk, which has been completely ravaged by war at this point. That was a city that was ravaged by the anti-terror operation.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick breakdown of history for anybody new watching this. The anti-terror operation happened after the Euromaidan revolution, sometimes called the Day of Dignity, in which eastern Ukraine, the contested areas right now in the war, Donetsk and Luhansk, those, if we want to think of, you know how easy our geography lessons would be, as an aside, if all of our states were just named for the capital city.
Oh yeah.
Like Ukraine's pretty much named their states after their oblasts after the capital city.
I live in Iowa City, which is in the state of Iowa. So.
Oh, okay. That one counts. One counts.
But you don't live in Texas City, do you?
No, I don't live in Texas City, and we don't live in the state of Austin.
Right.
But
City.
Yeah, but he's from Donetsk, so to stay there. You got to understand, most people from Donetsk that were full Ukrainian speakers left during the anti-terror operation, and people don't understand that Donetsk and Luhansk originally, when they were separatists, when they revolted, they did not want to join Russia. They didn't want to leave Ukraine to join Russia. They wanted to rebel against Ukraine because they thought, because propaganda had led them to believe that the Day of Dignity was a coup. And so they were replacing. So the idea, what they were led to believe, because of the language barrier differences, there's a lot of conservative versus liberal conflict over language in the east of Ukraine. But because of that, they thought that the semi-pro-Russian guy that was tossed out was just going to be replaced with a Ukrainian dictator. And so they revolted, and Ukraine had no choice, kind of like during the United States Civil War, had no choice but to send the federal army in after the capital was seized by demonstrators in their own little January 6th, except it worked. And what happened was you had, this is where Zelensky is saying you can't trust Putin, you can't trust anything Russians say, because the Russians would call for several ceasefires, and then they would break those ceasefires. So over and over again, they broke their word during this period where they said we're going to have a ceasefire, we're going to get the separatists to stop fighting, and then they would send Prigozhin in and the Wagner group and stir things up again. So that went on until about 2018, 2019, when ironically Trump gave enough support to Ukraine to put that down for a little bit. And so there was a little bit of peace from about 2020, sort of everybody was dealing with COVID too, to 2022. And so this cop during that whole time continued to serve and protect, continued to be Ukrainian, and then was invaded and went around with his own personal vehicle at first to get as many people out as he could. Then he found himself one ambulance crew.
Wow.
And at that point, he went into Donetsk to get people that wanted to leave out. And at that point, because he had a white ambulance, they were nicknamed by the citizens of Donetsk that wanted to leave. They were nicknamed the White Angels. So,
and I'm just going to add something if I can, or
yeah,
be rude. I'm going to be rude and just add it. Is that one point of context for people to understand is how insanely rare having an ambulance was at that time and still is. Like here in the States, we're just like, well, how hard could it be to find an ambulance? In post-invasion Ukraine, these things were like solid gold. It was so rare to have an ambulance where you could cart people around. So I just wanted to throw that out there because most people don't know that.
I didn't know that. I knew I knew that he went into places that that ambulances couldn't go. Is how the articles read.
Yeah,
but the fact that there probably was no ambulance.
Yeah.
Not rude at all. Podcasts are meant to jump in and get feisty.
No, they were very difficult to come by. By the time the tide had turned and the evacuation phase was over, anyone who had a van big enough to cart a human, I mean, that's why like Project Constantin for combat medevacs, he was evacuating people in sedans. I mean, these are really hard vehicles to come by, and it's only become more difficult. And like in Kherson, when the Russians left, they took like every ambulance they could find with them and most of the larger cars, leaving the people without an ability to transport injured people adequately or safely and properly. So yeah, it's a really big deal to have a Sprinter van decked out with bed capabilities where you can lay a patient down, in any kind of comfort. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And well, his organization grew where he's got, I don't know if he's got 5 ambulances now. It sounds like from the rarity of them that's what he has. He's got 5 units that operate across the front.
Yeah.
And from 2022 to 2024, you're talking about 50, an organization that grew to only about 50 or 60 people. They rescued somewhere between 5,500 and 6,000 people.
Wow.
And 700, 500 to 700 of them were children under the age of 12.
Wow. And actually, I'm going to back up one thing and say, because obviously if you go to a town that hasn't been like bombed severely like Kherson, I'm sure in some of the cities that aren't as close to any zero line, there are more ambulances. I'm specifically talking about like other areas of the country that have been, really wrecked. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't want people to think, oh, he just said there's no ambulances in all of Ukraine.
Oh yeah, that's a good update.
Yeah, but I'm really I've never heard of the White Angels, so I'm really enjoying this intro here.
And you said with Project Constantin that the founders have both passed away, unfortunately, as heroes. So Heroyam, Slava to them. Yeah. But this organization has grown. I mentioned that they saved a lot of children.
Wow.
This woman is the captain of, and they're all police officers. None of them are soldiers. Police officers and paramedics.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. That's really
so this lady is a police captain in the Sumy region. Wow. And to give people an idea, so Ukraine, and what I thought is a brilliant strategic move, invaded the Kursk region. And in response, Russia said, well, we can't have that. So we're going to invade the Sumy region. And so everybody tried to open new fronts to outflank each other, and it all ended up in a war of attrition again anyway. Mm-hmm. But for a while, Ukraine was succeeding in the Kursk region and driving towards the actual city of Kursk. And the only reason that they were stopped is because U.S. intelligence was suddenly cut off. That is a completely different subject to talk about.
Yeah.
And that intelligence was cut off at a crucial time when also North Korean troops were deployed into the area.
Wow. Wow.
So that stopped the Kursk invasion from Ukraine. But the Russians had a lot of trouble stopping it before whatever happened. And that gets into conspiracy theories and all that kind of thing. But
it's interesting. I always did wonder, because it did seem like it just sort of like it just fizzled, and I didn't really know what happened, and I kind of thought that seems odd.
All U.S. intelligence was cut off for a time.
Wow.
As a punishment from Trump. Not a punishment, but a peace deal negotiation type thing. It's just sort of a.
Was it shortly after he got upset about Zelensky not wearing a suit?
No, it was around that time. Exactly around that time. Right after that meeting with Zelensky.
Yeah.
You are correct. So thank you for reminding me of that. So they pushed into the Sumy region, and this lady had to join in 2024. She joined the White Angels because her city was under attack all of a sudden. And she had to go into, and they formed a unit with a couple of ambulances to save people that were on the front line affected areas. And she became really, really good at rescuing children and helping them deal with their trauma.
Wow.
Her name is Elena Stavitska. She was awarded the Order of Courage, the 3rd degree, which is one of the highest civilian honors that a person can get from President Zelensky himself. So she has a higher honor than the founder of the White Angels. But I like talking about lady warriors whenever I can because of our political situation, kind of poo-pooing lady warriors in combat. But she's definitely.
Hold on, then if you'll forgive me the intrusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
One group that I didn't mention that I will mention then is the 93rd Alcatraz Battalion.
Ooh, 93rd Alcatraz.
And so I sent a profile link for Facebook to a profile called De Facto Humanity.
Okay, I see it here.
It's sort of hard to trace, but De Facto Humanity is run by April Huguet, who is a Canadian citizen who now has been living.
It's not this one, is it?
Not Durham Humanitarian. That was the one group. No offense, Rocky and Emmy, but I was running out of time, so I wasn't going to cover them this time. But no, it should be just the. Gosh, did I send you the profile link?
You sent me a Facebook profile, yes.
Yeah, De Facto, it's got a woman's face, De Facto Humanity. It's the last thing I sent you there. It's underneath the Durham Humanitarian. So
I want to bring her up, though.
Yeah, bring
speaking
her
of...
April is a super badass. But she's not Ukrainian, but she is doing really amazing work there.
Here she is.
Yeah, so she's a medic. She's a Canadian who she helps train medics to be combat medics. She's the main social media and fundraiser person for the 93rd Alcatraz Battalion. And if you follow her on Facebook, you will see her constant asking. So she's out there training medics, doing all sorts of stuff. And then in the evenings, she gets back to her headquarters and basically is just like, hey guys, here's our latest asks. We're looking for drones. So she is supporting a combat.
My name's April Huggett. I'm a member of the 9th Brigade Alcatraz Battalion. I'm a medic.
There she is.
That's April. She's awesome. The one really fascinating thing about the battalion that she's a member of is they are an all-prisoner volunteer brigade.
Oh, okay.
I believe these guys all have commuted sentences for lesser crimes in exchange for being released and then fighting in the war.
Fighting on Ukraine side in the war, of course.
Yep. Yeah.
So are they Ukrainian prisoners or
they're Ukrainian, yeah.
Okay.
And so she started off, I think like 2 years ago, she went over to basically rescue dogs and cats. So she was into animal rescue. Mm-hmm. And then slowly she just sort of morphed into what she's doing now. And she gives really honest accounts of what things are like there. Of course, without giving away any, what am I trying to say? She doesn't give away any important
classified,
yeah. But she lets people know about the real struggles that they experience. So I've definitely, whenever I've given my presentation, I've tried to steer people to give money towards her group as well. But yeah, April's very, very cool. It's always interesting to see her stuff. I just want to throw that out there. So
all right. So a combat medic, female warrior.
Yep.
that is going to be a warrior regardless of how many push-ups she can do.
I think April can
But
do a lot of push-ups.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, but still, you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, there she is.
But
Thank you for sharing that. No, because I'm all about that. That meets the theme. She's helping combat unit, but she's also some of these combat units that, as we're seeing, they really protect they are constantly having to protect the citizens of Ukraine
yeah.
because of the terror campaign. Like these people
Yeah.
in the Sumy region, these kids, they didn't expect. They thought, okay, we've established a front, and
Yeah.
we'll have some warning if the war comes our way. And the war came their way from the north, which is a little bit unexpected. And so this group, the White Angels, expanded, and her unit saved something like I put it in an article, but she saved a couple hundred kids, like 700 people on her own in just the Sumy region, and 200 and something of them were kids.
Wow. I saw she was in Bakhmut as well.
Yes, she was. Bakhmut was a big danger zone for them during Bakhmut. Well, the White Angels. I don't know if Elenia was there.
I was just reading the thing. It sounded like she. Oh, you mean White Angels were there, but maybe okay, got it.
Yeah, she's specifically Sumy region commander.
I see. Okay.
But they were in Bakhmut, and the sister city that Russia threw waves of meat people at. Eventually took. So they eventually took those cities, and I think they've since taken a lot of Bakhmut back.
Right.
But getting into those areas now, amazingly, I can't find that the White Angels have had any casualties. So blessings for them if they continue to stay safe. But Elenia herself, in her first month signing up, did get hit by a drone and got a major concussion. She had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks.
That's a very big deal.
And then she went right back to the front.
Wow.
Trying to save kids.
Wow.
So that's people fighting back against the human safari.
Yeah.
A lot of what they need is drone detectors, and we're starting to learn shotguns. Shotguns are real effective against the drones on their final attack approach.
Right. So is that just because of the spread pattern of the pellets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all you folks that have spent a lot of time learning to shoot skeet, it is now a transferable skill.
Yeah. Hopefully one you never have to use, but yeah.
Hopefully.
By the way, did you know that they're making a documentary about the farmer?
Yes. Zarina told me about it.
I believe Kaolin Robertson, putting together a documentary. I
was hoping that it would be out by the time we had a chance to chat.
Okay.
Because he fits right into the theme of Baba Laura and all the other citizens of Kherson that have been fighting this personal war that nobody knows about. And something that Baba Laura said there is hey, I'm glad you're an American reporter, because Americans really need to know about this. We really need their help. And we do. So that's why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
It'll reach some people, and hopefully every week we'll reach a few more people. But with that, any closing thoughts? We've come up on our hour, and I think we've covered everything pretty well. I really appreciate you being here. I learned a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. I'm just really happy to be here. I guess the only thing I would say is, it's been a while since I've chatted with Linda at Paracrew, but just bringing it full circle. Last time I talked to her, they're still looking for drivers. So if anyone has a hankering to go over and do some driving, I think her commitment was like 2 weeks. If you've got at least 2 weeks free, you can go over, you can contact Linda and say, hey, I'm willing to come over and drive, so.
And that's on the Facebook page?
Yeah, you can reach out to Linda through the Facebook page. Yep.
Okay. So on their Facebook page, I'll put a link to it in the description of the YouTube and on Substack. If you're on Spotify, please join us on Substack or travishightower.net.
Yeah.
I'll put a link there on my website. But anybody that help out with donations, or if you have a hankering to join the war, because you're an awesome driver, and I've got several friends that were in the defense industry that are over there right now that became essentially American soldiers, volunteer soldiers, in the spirit of the Flying Tigers and the Eagle Squadron of the Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Americans fighting over there right now, and at some point I need to do a whole episode recognizing them. But I was hoping to have one or two of them on a podcast themselves. But so
well,
maybe
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. So in a future episode, you can look for something like that. I like to promote what I'm doing next time. So
Awesome.
That may be what we do next time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great podcast, Travis. I listened to an episode or two before, of course, after you asked me to. Actually, I think I reached out to you and was like, "Hey, you're looking for a guest." But I really like the format, and I like the topics, and I'm going to be listening to the other ones that I didn't get to listen to. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Zarina helped get it all started.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, she's the first episode.
Oh, right on.
So,
and wasn't Baba Laura in the Heroyam Human Safari movie?
I don't recall her being in it,
Okay.
but I'll tell you who is the woman who had lost her son.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And she is a drone operator, female warrior.
Yeah.
She had already lost her husband and father, and now she's lost her son to the war. And she's a drone operator, and that woman has lost so much that, and to hear her say in in Human Safari, I forgive me, Zarina, for not remembering her name, but to hear her say, when I want to drop a drone on some of these guys, the Russians, I'm okay calling them orcs, the invaders, because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, and I love that they call them orcs for that reason. But the woman in question that we're talking about, who's lost her whole family to the war and is now a warrior with drones, which a lot of female warriors become drone operators. The three main professions of combat for Ukrainian women are sniper, which they surpass the men at, by the way.
Yeah, that was the episode I listened to. I was so fascinated that there was a female sniper who had 60 kills. I was like, holy
chilly.
Yeah.
It won't be long before one of them gets the record over the guy who has the record. But there's a guy who broke the sniper record for distance in Ukraine. I forget his name, but a lady will beat it soon. And then drone operators and combat medics, as you introduced us to. But the drone operators, where I got away from, was that she feels herself wanting to kill out of vengeance for them taking her whole family. But then she kind of stops herself and says, "No, I need to do this right. I need to fight right, because I don't want to become like them."
Right. She didn't want to sink into hate, but she still wanted to defend. Yeah, I thought that was pretty admirable. I felt like as well. Yeah. Wow.
So that's where we'll leave it. We'll be glad to have you on again as well. We'll catch up. We know we want to try to set up some more screenings of Human Safari and other documentaries. So maybe we can work together to do that.
Right.
But
great.
Until then, I always say glory to those who defend the this is one more small tangent.
Sure.
There's a Ukrainian I follow on Substack that saw the demonstrations of the No Kings.
Oh, yeah.
And he's so moved by that he actually posted a message that said Slava Americana. And I was like, coming from a Ukrainian, so because that made him realize how much of our country is really, with them despite everything going on.
Yeah.
So for those that defend the Constitution,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I can add one more thing. So So I am in touch with a friend who runs an organization that's in Kherson. And then, of course, I'm in touch with Zarina, also Durham Humanitarian, which has been on the screen here for a while. We didn't get to dive into them, but I just want to say that when I reach out and even just say hello to these people and say, hey, hope you're having a safe day. I hope you stay safe today. They almost always comment back and say something like, thanks for not forgetting me.
Right.
Because we feel forgotten by America. And I can feel their frustration and their invisibility because they're just like, where's the rest of America? And so it's nice to hear that a Ukrainian saw the protest and goes, oh, maybe all Americans aren't just, watching Netflix and forgetting we exist,
Right.
But, yeah, it's
so that was really, and that was a real important demonstration, not just for our own politics, but to let the rest of the world know that we see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's how I always end, is with glory to those who defend the Constitution of the United States, and
Yes.
Slava Heroyam, or Slava Ukraini,
Of Ukraini.
and Heroyam Slava.
Heroyam Slava.
Yep.
Excellent.
And
By the way, just should tell the audience members, this was not filled with vodka. This